What's going on, everyone? It's Dustin from Journey to Master. A little sunny out. Today's episode, I want to talk about the importance of getting money up front from people. A lot of the forums talk about, and Facebook groups talk about, who gets money up front, who doesn't, how much money should you get up front, how does all of the draw schedule work and everything like that. So the reason that I'm having this talk is because I just went out to a job that we had scheduled several weeks ago, and I ordered a rock saw, which is about $1,000 to dig a trench. This guy had a circuit that came out of his panel and went all the way across the property to a pole barn, and it was like strung through trees and stuff. So we were going to take all that down and trench everything underground. So I reserved the rock saw, went and bought about $900 worth of materials, and so I was already about $2,000 into this job. Showed up this morning, and the customer said that they no longer wanted to do it underground. What the fuck? Okay, so what did you want to do? Well, we want to put 2 poles up and have all of this done overhead. It's already overhead. They just don't want it going through the trees. So, not only did I have 3 of us out in the field with our thumbs up our asses, not able to do anything, but I already had the trencher on the way. I already had all the materials in the back of the truck, so I lost, I was able to call the company and that had the trencher and say, hey, we need to cancel. And the only thing we were out is like a $300 deposit. So whatever, 300 bucks, fuck it, lesson learned. I didn't get any money up front from the customer, so I had no leverage to be able to still tell him, okay, well, you're gonna have to pay for the cancellation fees and all of this stuff and the material that I already bought. Had I collected some money up front, I would have been able to have that conversation because I would be in control of the funds, but I couldn't just tell him, well, you still need to pay me $300, give me your credit card. That, no fucking way would he have done that, and that wouldn't have gone over very well. So just here to say, taking money up front is probably not a bad idea. Now, I've always had a policy that for jobs that are $1,000 or less, I don't take money up front. Actually, to be honest, I usually don't take money up front unless it's $5,000 or more. I just haven't had any bad luck in all the years I've been doing this and side work and everything. I've never had somebody not pay, or I've never had a situation where I was like, son of a bitch, I should have taken money up front. Well, I just had one. So my policy's generally been like, okay, if it's $5,000 or more, I'm gonna do, I'll give the customer a choice. I'll say you can either do 50% up front and 50% when the job's done. You can do a third, and a third. If you want to, if there's like an inspection that has to take place, I'll usually do a third of the materials, or a third up front so I can buy materials, and then I take another third after I've passed my rough-in inspection, my electrical rough, and then another third once I've passed my final. The third thing seems to work out. At first I was doing quarters, so I would do a quarter up front, that way I could get materials. And then I would do a quarter after we finished the rough, so I could use that to kind of pay my guys and recoup costs. Then I would do another quarter right before trim out, because it's usually a few months after your rough inspection before you can do trim out. So I would do my third quarter right before trim out, and my fourth quarter I would do once the job was completely done, once I finished my final, once I got my final inspection. And that worked out pretty great too. The only problem that I found was that it was almost too little money over too long of a time. So that's why I went to thirds, and thirds. Thirds, each draw you get's a little bit bigger. You only get 3 of them. But for there to be a second draw after I passed my rough inspection, and then a third draw right before rough, those 2 could just be combined into one draw. So I've thought about doing like a quarter up front and then half after rough inspection, and then another quarter at the end. There's tons of ways you can do it, whatever you feel more comfortable with. But point of the story is, if you get a $10,000 job out there and you get, a week into it and then they fire you or they run out of money or something, you have no fucking money to show for all the work, and you have to pay your guys. Like, where are you going to come up with that money? So getting something up front is always necessary. I just don't think that it's a huge deal if you're doing like speed bump. I don't think it's a huge deal if you're just doing like a $500 job or anything like that. And then the type of work that you're doing, the type of customer is another thing. If you're just doing a service call out at some business somewhere, businesses generally, you're not going to have as much issue with people paying you as you would with residential stuff. Businesses tend to have more money, tend to need stuff quickly. The shitty thing is that they don't pay usually for like 30 to 60 days, sometimes 90. So that's another thing. If you want to get payment up front, you're probably going to get kickback from a lot of these management companies and restaurants and stuff, because they don't pay like that. You invoice them and they usually do like net 30 terms, where they have 30 days to send you a check, or net 60. They've got 60 days to send you a check. And I'm okay doing work like that. Like, a lot of people are hardcore against doing net 30 and net 60 terms for payment. I just look at it as a pipeline. So if you're ever in sales, you realize, like, once you start a sales job, you're not going to get paid any commissions for like a couple of months, because you have to build a pipeline of work. So I'm okay with doing commercial stuff, doing service work, and not being paid for a little while. Right now I've got a job that it was an emergency call. I had to go out to this restaurant. They had a breaker tripping. Well, it ends up being a 3-phase 250 amp main that was made in like 1940. And so I'm having to have the thing custom built and sent and overnight shipped, and then we have to put the whole breaker together. So that's $1,000 right there that I'm going to have to spend on that. But I've already gotten approval. They say that they're fine with me billing them what I'm going to actually charge them. And I've done work for these people in the past. So like on that job, even though it's $1,000 just for the materials and probably another like $1,500 in labor, I'm still not going to take anything down, because I've worked with these guys in the past, and I kind of know what to expect with them. But it took me doing some small jobs with them to figure out how everything worked. If this was the first time I'd ever done work for them, it might be a little bit different. But then again, they might have just chosen to completely, they might have just chosen not to use us for that reason, because we're asking for money up front. But I don't know. That's just like the commercial space. I don't have a whole lot of experience like billing people in a commercial environment or in like a property management environment. Most of the stuff that I've been doing since I started this company has all been residential remodels, little service calls here and there, getting paid pretty instantaneously. So anyways, I just wanted to kind of break the seal on that whole thing. Another lesson, many lessons that you guys are hearing me suffer through here, mistakes that I'm making, but not taking money from people, especially when you have an equipment rental. Equipment rental seems to be like, from now on, if I'm gonna rent a fucking $1,000 trencher, then I need to get at least some kind of deposit down, even if it's just the deposit that I'm going to be incurring myself, $300 down. But more realistically, I would probably just do the full cost of the trencher, and that way, if they bail out, at least I've got like flexibility and I've got some leverage there. So let me know what you guys think, what kind of stuff that you do, what kind of draw schedules you do, whether you think that any of this is necessary, or if you've run into anything that's bad. Like, I've worked for guys that have lost like $600,000 from a job before because there was something fishy going on with the GC and the owner, and they ended up just holding back like $200,000 at the very end of a job, and all this like legal battles and stuff that they have to go through. So let me know how much money you've lost in the past. What's the worst loss that you've ever incurred, and kind of like what methods y'all use. So have a good day. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.